derivative work such as translation of that product into different languages, such as taking your book that you have written and turning it into a movie. You alone can do that. Anybody who wants to do that has to take your permission. So that is derivative work. So we are saying here that law has given copyright holders these 5 rights: the right to make copies of the product, the right to produce derivative works from the original work. You alone will have the right to distribute copies of the product, either by selling or by open source or what have you. Only the copyright owner can distribute copies. If anyone else is found doing all these things that we mentioned here, the person or individual or company can be sued. 4, a copyright owner has the right to perform the work in public. For example, music, play. You came out with your music, you came out with your movies or play that they enter the theater to watch. You alone can make that work in public or display it in public. Okay, so finally, the copyright owner is the only person who can display the work in public. Example, artwork, art, movie, computer games, etc. So these are the rights given to the owner of intellectual property. So, all right. Even though the owners of intellectual properties are given all these rights, we realize that the advancement of technology and internet are making things difficult. Okay, are making things difficult. For example, the internet and search engine have made finding materials easier. Graphic, audio, video, you want to design your own website and you go and download and use it instead of creating your own. Some of these graphics or video, whatever, are own. You are not to use it freely for your own website. However, there are some free medias online. You have to, you have to know how to search for them, free ones. Okay, you don't take other people's and embed it into your product. Digital technology and internet make copyright infringement easier and cheaper. And you realize that with the challenge of technology, we can easily make compression. You can copy large file size at once. Okay, so making things easier for people to be able to infringe on copyright of the owner. Peer-to-peer technology make transferring and sharing file easier. So now, because of advancement in technology, we can easily connect wirelessly or with wired, or just share. Something you just download, you click on it and share online, you share it to anybody. So everybody get perfect copy. So this is infringing on copyright information. Technology such as broadband connection also make transferring file easier and enable streaming videos easier online. Look at what happened to camera, with camera, advancement in camera. Now, gone are the days where you buy camera. Today, on our phone, we can easily access camera and use it to record and transmit any message that you want online easily as copy. So all these are the challenges of technology that are making people easily infringe on the privacy of individual. Accident, fighting, on the road, if quickly you can record and send online. Okay. Scanners also are the scanner machine, the photocopy machine make all this thing easier for us to use. Okay. So those are the challenges of new technology when we're talking about intellectual property and its infringement. If I may ask, what does it mean to solve the problem of technology? Impact on intellectual property rights. We talk about what technology is allowing people to do. Okay. So what does it mean to solve the problem of technology impact on intellectual property rights? Okay. So depending on the product, depending on the intellectual property value, okay. Remember earlier we mentioned different examples of intellectual property. All right. As technology is making those impacts and making people to be able to record, make perfect copies, and what have you, we realize that it impacts people differently. The consumer who get movie and music online, the problem is to get them cheaply and conveniently. So they are happy. They are happy at the end. They are able to get access to those things cheaply and conveniently. However, to the writer of the movie, the writer of books, the singers, artists, actors, and to the people who work in production and marketing, wherever, the problem is to ensure that they are paid for the time and effort. So they want to get the value, the other profits from their creation. Okay. So the impact of technology is seen differently by different people or by different stakeholders. So I've talked about the consumer, and then I've talked about the content creators. The content creators are the writers, the singers, artists, whatever. So they want to get the benefit of the time and intellectual ability they brought together to create those products. At least they want to get profit from their creation. Okay. So when technology is impacting negatively, making people to copy easily, these people can go out of business. To the entertainment industry, publishers, software companies, the problem is to protect their investment and expectations. So mostly their expectation is the revenue. They will do what it takes to protect their intellectual property. So you can see the way even software is going now, online. Sometimes you realize that when you even pay to purchase, only 2 or 3 people can install it. The rest, you cannot install. If you share the product again, you cannot install. Okay. So different individuals who see intellectual property protection differently. So that's what this slide is about. When we look at content protection, the protection of copyright or intellectual property, we realize that it started way back in the 1770s. So in Israel, we seen that the first copyright law was passed in 1790. Okay, due to people creation. and the value they want to gain from it. In the 1909, Copyright Act was also defined. We state that an unauthorized copy as a form that could be seen and read visually. So this law is abided as at that time. In the 76 up to 80, copyright law was revised to include software and databases. So initially, they were not included. Okay, so software now have intellectual copyright law, and then what? Databases that we create and put online, that you attach to your software. So all these have protection. In 82, there's high volume copying. High volume copying became a felony. So became a crime. So instead of copying small thing, you copy big, it become a felony. Even in textbook, books, you can see how you can reference a small part that you are making use of, not the whole page from book. So high copying of content becomes a felony since 1982. Also, still in 1992, making multiple copies for commercial advantage and private gain became a felony. Okay, so the law continued up to Electronic Theft Act and then what? Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA. So this was passed in 1998, and the law is so nice. The law prohibits making, distributing, or using tools to circumvent technological copyright protection system. So if somebody protects their material, okay, the intellectual property, in one way or the other, you are not to go and hack it. You are not to go and do whatever means to be able to make the copy or use that particular product. It's a big felony. So you are not to circumvent technological copyright protection system. This includes protection from some copyright lawsuits for websites where user posts materials. So it includes softwares. Okay, you are not to circumvent and then hack into the system to steal people data or information. Okay, all these are part of circumvention. So that is under DMCA. 2005, Congress made it a felony to record a movie in a movie theater because they want the people to gain from their hard work, investments, and time that they have brought together to come up with the intellectual property. So you can see how intellectual property is so protected, okay? So now that we know what intellectual property is, and we talk about certain protection in terms of law to safeguard people's intellectual property, what then are the benefits that we can derive from intellectual property protection? Okay. One, you get revenue. The owner of intellectual property will earn revenue that is supposed of them. The movie, the books, the software you have come out with. So when you gain this revenue, you realize that it will enable them to come up with more intellectual properties. But if they are producing and there's nothing gained from it, okay, this will deny them of coming out with new ideas. Another benefit of the IPP, intellectual property protection, is the promotion of what? The culture. a culture that everybody must obey particular rule out there in order to give the right owner the benefits. Okay? So it promotes the culture of being protecting a particular product. And once everybody understands that particular culture, it's good to go for the benefit of the stakeholders. Benefits also include it enables dissemination of technical information. Okay? Technical, it enables dissemination of technical information. So, or not to even disseminate, depending on the owner's right. So, owner of intellectual property can keep certain information about their product secret or release it to the public. Okay. It also facilitates technology transfer, whereby people day in and day out, they'll be able to come up with more, what do you call it, ideas. Also note that open source that we think is free or free relies on IPR, intellectual property protection. So you realize that even though you can copy or download the software to use, sometimes they will give you what do you call it? That short time usage. There's a term for the short time usage of open source material. So later they will ask you to pay free. So they give you the free usage for like 1 month, 3 months. After the month elapsed, you have to what? Pay for it. That is even open source. Okay. And most of this open source material, you realize that you cannot get the full capability of the software in it. They give you the free version. Okay. So there are still more to open source. Intellectual property protection also can serve as collateral to obtain funding, to obtain financial support to keep on producing and benefiting by the stakeholders. And IPP also provide guarantees regarding quality and safety of products. So since these products are protected, you realize that you try to maintain quality. You try to maintain quality in terms of what benefit you also decide to get at the end. There's limits to intellectual property protection. So all what we talk about here, even though the creators will get the right to their invention, and we're saying that it can stimulate creativity at the end. So they are getting the revenue. People can identify them as a creator of this and that. So those benefits will stimulate creativity in the company or the individual who is day in and day out. They are able to sell their products and benefit from it. Society also benefits the most when invention becomes public domain. Your invention at the initial stage, you are benefiting, But when it becomes a public domain, the society also benefits the most. So example here is also the open source software, which is made public for people to benefit. Authors are also given inventors' rights for a limited time. authors are given inventor's right for a limited of time. Some of these protection, you realize that it's just for 20 years. Some of the invention may be for the lifetime of the authors until they die, then it will go to public domain. Okay, so different protection for this intellectual property. And here we are saying that they are time bound. They are time bound. Okay. Scenario. The scenario here is telling us that prices fall when work becomes public domain. Maybe after the 20 years, you are protected to be the owner of the invention. At that time, the price of the product can be higher. Whereas when the 20 years is over and the product becomes a public domain, prices will fall. So that's this prices fall when work becomes public domain. So let's look at an example here. When you take each of these companies, you say previous rental fee for mother goose suit was $540. But when it became public domain in 1988, okay, the price fall to 70. The price fall to $70. So you can look at another example, the planet. The planet is a intellectual work of somebody who is host. The artist is host. Previously, the product sells for $815. But when it became public domain in 1997, price fell to 300. Okay, so that is in support of the title that we put here. Prices of product will fall when works become public domain. So now we're going to section 3, protecting intellectual property. How do we protect your intellectual property? Remember we stated that, who can remind us what example of intellectual property? Okay, are you there? All right, I can see you are there. So what do you, example of intellectual property?
Hello, madam.
Yes, I've seen Stephen say movie. Thank you, Stephen. Yes, who is speaking?
Music, Bernard. Bernard is speaking. Music.
Bernard. Okay, I've seen you. Music. Okay,
Yeah.
music, computer program. Okay,
Yes.
etc. So those things we're going to look at how we can protect them, how we can protect those intellectual artistic work, how they can be protected in this section 3. So one way we can protect intellectual property is through trade secret. Is through trade secret. Trade secret is a confidential piece of intellectual property that gives the company a competitive advantage. Okay, where the intellectual property that gives company a competitive advantage is kept secret. Okay, so you owe the secret to your program. You owe the secret to your movie, how you came about it. you owe the secret to your formula in a particular equation. Okay?
Madam.
So even, hello,
Madam, please, the trade secrets and trademarks, are they the same?
they are not the same.
Oh, okay.
Okay? They are not the same. So we'll come to trademarks. Okay? So trade secret is about whatever means and process that you use to produce a product, you made it what? A secret from competitors. Even sometimes from some particular categories of employees. So the moment the secret is revealed, you realize that you are losing. You are losing to your competitors. Those individuals can go ahead and produce similar thing you have done. Okay? So that is a definition we say it's a confidential piece of intellectual property that gives company a competitive advantage. And this should be made secret or should be kept secret. When it remains secret to the organization or individual, you realize that IP never expires. Your creation will never expire. However, trade secrets cannot protect all intellectual properties. Or not all, it doesn't apply to everything. But if you are producing a product that you have the material, okay, material of that product remaining secret to you, okay, that place it can apply. In your computer program, what algorithm or data structure you come out with, you can make it a secret. So that can what apply. Trade secrets can also expire. So when somebody goes through other means to produce similar products. So that is reverse engineering. Okay. So reverse engineering can be used to come out with similar products, even though you say that nobody got the secret behind your processes, your secret behind your productivity. Okay. Yes. Reverse engineering also is known as backward engineering. It's a process or method through which one attempts to understand through deductive reasoning. You just think through it. Oh, I can produce this Coca-Cola or whatever by combining this and that through deductive reasoning, okay, to produce a similar product. You can look at a particular website, go through the links, okay, and come out with similar products. That is reverse engineering, okay. So that's an example we put here. You look at how a previously made device, process, system, or piece of software accomplishes a task. Then you discover, you come out with your own that are similar to performing the same task. That is reverse engineering. Also note that trade secrets may be compromised when employee leaves firm. Those people who held your trade secrets in the organization, you don't sack them by act. You don't sack them anyhow. You have to treat them in a special way that they don't easily release the organization secrets to the third party. Okay. So all what we are saying is that we are on protecting intellectual property. So first way we can protect intellectual property is through trade secret. All right. The second way we can protect intellectual property is through trademark. By trademark, we're giving identity to goods, or so service mark. We give some identity to services. Okay. So trademarks and service mark is a way we can use to protect intellectual property. So certain goods will have logo, they will have certain brand name, okay, for the company to or individual to identify them. So that is one way we can protect your intellectual property. So let's say you can say UCC again. You have your logo that identify UCC. Apart from that, Nestle Ghana Limited. Everywhere you heard of Nestle, you know that they are for particular products. Okay, those are trademarks. But when you talk about service mark, those services that you can identify through a particular what logo, through a particular dressing, okay, through a particular what color. Okay, the army, for example, you realize that they have their uniform, police, their uniform, service mark. You identify them through those services mark. Lawyers. So service mark can be used to protect. So anybody in police uniform will realize that they have roles and responsibility that they must abide in their day-to-day operations. Army the same, okay, service mark. Remember as we go, not all these can apply to a product. Some will apply, okay? If brand name becomes common, if your brand name for a product becomes common, trademarks may be lost. So what should the company do? They must advertise to protect their trademarks. So if brand name or trademarks becomes common nouns, trademark may be lost, okay? And anything can happen to your products. For example, brand name such as Pepsodent. Pepsodent has become a common noun, okay? But it's rather a trademark. It's a trademark for that particular product. We have other products out there. Who can mention other products for instead of Pepsodent? Gate, is there? Ajay?
Yes.
Yes, is there. Thank you.
Calipo.
Colgate. Huh?
Calipo.
Calipo. So, somebody mentioned yes, somebody, I mentioned Pepsodent, I mentioned Colgate. There are other products out there. But if people are going to buy it, they just mention Pepsodent. They mention Pepsodent. They'll go and buy different brand, but it's Pepsodent to them. Okay. So when Pepsodent has become a common noun, okay, and you realize that it may lose its what trademark because other products are similarly called Pepsodent. When brand name becomes public or common noun, companies have to advertise to protect their trademarks. You have to advertise a lot, saying that you are this, but not that. This is your identity, whatever. Okay, to protect your trademarks. Company also protect trademark by contacting those who misuse them. You can contact them and say that, no, this belongs to my company. Okay. So this is an example of usage by Xerox. Xerox said that if a trademark is misused, it could come undone. It could become undone. If you don't know zipper was a trademark, that word is a trademark. Don't worry, it is not, but it's used to be. It's lost because people misuse the name. Okay, zipper was a product. Okay, zipper, but it has lost its trademarks. The third way we can protect intellectual property is patent. It's through patent. Patent is a public document that provides detailed description of invention. Okay. Patent. Patent provide owner with exclusive right to the invention for 20 years. Okay, so you, the owner, you can prevent people from copying, using, and doing derivative work for a period of what? 20 years. That is how patent. So it's a document with seal, the parties involved sign. It's like contract. So when that name is given to you and you patent it, you patent your product, we're saying that it will last for 20 years. During these 20 years, you alone can do the 5 things I listed above earlier. You alone can copy, you alone can play it in public, you alone can do whatever for a period of 20 years. Who can tell me where we can apply patent?
Registrar General's Department.
Registrar General Department. That's where you can apply for patent. Okay. Sorry. All right. The is that the fifth one? Fourth. The fourth way you can protect your intellectual property is through copyright. Copyright will provide the owner of intellectual property 5 rights. It will provide the owner of intellectual property the following 5 rights. So the owner alone can reproduce the product. Secondly, the owner alone can distribute the copy of the what? Items to others. Only the owner can publicly display the intellectual properties. You can play the music publicly, the movie publicly, or design publicly. Okay. So only you alone can publicly perform. So all this, we mentioned them earlier. So copyright provides the owner of intellectual property the following 5 rights. Okay. 5 rights. Okay. And with copyright, you realize that you can do this for your lifetime, the lifetime of the owner. So it lasts, copyright lasts the lives of the owner. Okay. Okay, what is going on? All right, we are here. So there are key case studies in your book, the manual you can read. Case study about this. These are 3 case studies, okay, to support our argument for copyright or intellectual property protection. Okay. Before we continue, we'll look at the one case study about database guru. Okay, about database guru. Okay. The case study is telling us that Arjun employed at Felicity Software. Once employed, he signed a confidentiality and proprietary right agreement. He worked with the company by developing some database optimizations. So later he left Felicity Software and employed at unrelated.com as a supervisor. He supervises team developing database software. Okay. So during his supervision, he realized that the optimization software he developed at Felicity Software would help the team at the new company. Okay. What should he do? What should Arjun do? Should he give the optimization software to them? Does it belong to him? Okay. So what should analyze this case study? In analysis of this case study, we realize that Arjun can have 2 alternatives. The first is the clean room strategy, or he should personally get involved in the new company, okay? And through that, he advised them about what to do, but not to give the software to them. He can advise them, we'll start this way, then you continue that in that order. After all, he's a supervisor. With the clean room strategy, he's saying that you should provide the team with publicly available information or performance targets. But you cannot take the Felicity software you develop at Felicity Software because it belongs to the company and come and give it to unrelated.com. All right. So case study. All right. So now we have looked at series of protection for intellectual property. If you talk about patents, copyright, and then what? And what again? How can you protect your intellectual property? Trademark, trade secrets, okay? Service mark, all these are discussed, okay? Even though you can protect your intellectual property based on what we discussed earlier, there's a concept of fair use. It's a concept of fair use. Okay, Ajay.
Mommy, the case study, did you say that he can't sell it, or he can't take it from the previous company?
Yes, because it's intellectual property of the company.
So what then is the end solution?
The solution is what we described. I said he has two options. Okay. The solution, he has two options. Either you use a clean room strategy, just tell the team, go online, you can find information, go to this manual, do your work. Those are the clean room strategy. Or he personally will be working together with the team, but not to give the product to them. You work with the team, let's do this way. Or you ask them question, a leading question, go do this. Step by step, they will get there. The products from the first company becomes the company's intellectual property. Notice, even though we can protect our intellectual property as we described above, there's a concept of what? Fair use in relation to intellectual properties. Okay. What do you mean by fair use? By fair use, laws allow, okay, copyrighted work to be copied in some ways or used for certain purposes that are non-commercial. So fair use permits a party to use a copyrighted work without the copyright owner's permission for purposes such as criticism in a court, in a debate, okay, comments, in supporting your writing, new writing you are doing. You can just, news reporting, they can use it, report on something from your work. Teaching, you can use some portion for teaching, scholarship, or research. However, for the whatever you copy and you are using to be considered fair use, you have to go by these 4 factors. 4 factors are considered by the court to categorize, okay, fair use as fair use. Before, if you say you are using it for criticism, whatever, or teaching, whatever, it must go by these 4 factors. Court will look at the purpose and nature of the use. Fair use should not be commercial. Any product you are using it for, it shouldn't be something you sell and make a profit from it. So if the purpose and nature of the use is non-profit, okay, then they will consider it as what? Fair use. Apart from that, court will look at the nature of the copyrighted work. Okay, the nature of the work. So whatever you are using it for, does it meet the fair use policy? Were you using it for criticism or reporting or teaching or within your research? So court will look at the nature of the use. 3, court will also look at the amount and significance of the portion used. How much content have you copied for the criticism? How much have you copied for your research? Are you doing that with references? Okay, so, or citation. So all this will be looked at in court. Then the 4th one, court will also look at the effect of use on potential markets. So whatever you have used the copyrighted work for, what impact does it make on the public, in the market? Does it have market value? Yeah. Will it impact the original owner, such as reducing sale of the product? So, effect of use, positively or negatively, will also be what? Considered. Okay. So, concept of fair use is not just one point alone. No single factor alone determines what should be fair use. So, combination of this will allow the court to consider that actually the copyrighted work that you have copied is what? Fair use. So let's go further with the concept of what? Fair use. Okay. So by this, we'll look at time shifting and then space shifting. By time shifting, if you record a movie, a music, a particular video, and you use it, you recorded it. Maybe you are busy, this thing, discussion is going on, and you recorded it. To be used later, to be watched later by yourself, that is considered fair use. However, if you make your copy of a particular copyrighted material and show it in a theater for commercial benefits, that is known. That is not a fair use. Okay. So that's so
James, mute your.
who is that? So meaning you're copying and using later is about time shifting. So the program time or the CD, whatever that you have recorded is for later use. So time shifting. The second concept we'll look at is space shifting. Space shifting. Okay. With space shifting, we'll realize that you have copied your work, you have copied somebody copyright work and gave it to another person, such as your friend, to use. Anytime they continue using it, it will be considered fair use only when it is done by yourself. So original work is there. You made several copies to be used by yourself. That is space shifting. You move it from original material to a different digital form and to be used elsewhere, such as your radio, audio devices, other audio devices. So that is space shifting. So this same copy you have made, if you give it to a friend to be used in their own stereo, it is not considered as fair use. So here we have lists of certain case studies too that we can consider. All right. So this is the first case study. It's Kelly versus Ariba. Authors case study. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look at the digital media in 3.5. Okay. Digital media. Remember earlier from beginning, we said that the revolution in information technology and IT has made content owner to be able to digitalize. Okay. So this comes with the concept digital rights management. Because of IT, we realize that this digital content in digital form can be what? Managed. Owners of copyright material that are in digital form can protect their what? Content. So that is the idea behind digital rights management. We'll see this as the actions owners of intellectual property in digital form take to protect their rights. We said they have rights, right? So if I've come out with a movie that are in digital form, software, all those things, they are in digital form. They are not physical products. They are my intellectual properties. So as an individual or organization who is producing digital content, how can you protect those items from copying, from misuse, from a lot of things? So that is digital rights management, okay? Approach that we can use to protect our digital intellectual property is encryption, okay? Is to encrypt this digital content, turning the content into a cipher. So that user, even if you are able to download, you'll not be able to play it. You'll not be able to see the content. Textbook, ebooks online are encrypted. You realize that you want to read the book, maybe only the table of content are displayed. The rest you can't see. You download, you can't see. It will just be plain, okay? Encryption. Another thing we can do apart from encryption to protect the digital content is to mark the digital content so devices can recognize content as copy protected. Okay, it's a software. So software are used to mark. Example you can do is watermarks. Watermark at the background, you see different information. Okay, until you pay, that you can get the right content. Okay, so apart from encryption and marking, who can give us another example of how we can protect digital content?
Zipping of a file.
Zipping.
Yes.
When you zip, what happens?
I've encrypted.
Hey, zipping is for what? Compression. If you want to compress
Sir,
file,
madam, when I zip, I put password on it, so you
Mm.
can't get
so
the
that is, you just mention password, not
yes.
zipping, not zipping, password.
Okay.
So you can password. That's what we. Okay, thank you. Okay, password. Who again? Okay, password. Yeah, Ajay.
Mommy, can you say logo? You can put your logo on the content.
Logo on the content. Digitalized content.
Yes.
You know, everything you are, your company will be identified by logo or name. Do you understand? Or service mark. They will be identified by that. But if you have content in a digital form, how do you protect it?
I think, for example, the digital content, if you put
Such
your
as,
logo there, then the person is using,
such
for
as,
example, the video.
such as movie, such as what do you call it? Computer software, such as music. You understand? Those are digital example of digital content, digitalized content. So he's saying logo. So if logo is to display it is example of the mark. Okay. Mark digital contents. Okay. So for example, when you download, even you use software to create a lot of things online. When you are downloading, you have to pay some of them. If you cannot pay and you download the free version, you see their logo at the background of the interface. So this is showing to everybody that it is not your own. It is not your own creation. Okay. Earlier, we made mention of Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That can be used to, that is a law that came to enforce policies, rules on digitalized content. Okay, policy and rules on digitalized content. So one law that supports that is a Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Okay. So one aspect of this act is that it extended length of the copyright. It extended the length of copyrighted material to the lifespan of the person. It also extended copyright protection to music that are broadcast over the internet. So those movies, music over the internet, it's extended copyright protection on them. So owner of those products can protect it in any way that they wanted. Okay. It also made it illegal for anyone to circumvent encryption. The password you are putting on digital content, to circumvent them, it is illegal. So the individual can go to jail when sued. Okay. So from there, apart from Digital Millennium Copyright Act, we also have another group known as Secure Digital Music Initiative. Okay. They came together because they are losing the music industry, the movie industry, they are losing their digital content easily. They are not benefiting much. So these over 200 companies came together to develop digital watermarking, the digital watermarking scheme. Okay. So they develop it, but it is still in use. The first one they developed failed because the internet made copying easier. Okay. And the internet copying, you don't know, everywhere in the world, people can easily make copies. And before the digital watermark was out, the internet became proliferated. Okay. All right. But now we have a lot of this going on online, where we have watermarking on anything you copy without what permission. Okay, so this is a case study again. A case study. When you go read on Sony BMG Music Entertainment, case study. Case study. Okay. So this is about iTunes Store. Those days, iTunes Music. People were getting music online, downloading, but later they also employ DRM scheme. Okay. They employ DRM protection to protect the music purchase from other online retailers. So this was done that if somebody purchase and you even copy, there will be number of copy you can make online or from the product, just to protect and enable them to make a profit. All right, case study continue. Case study continue. Okay. So from there, that is about digital rights management. All of us, level 4 and we should know what we mean by confidential information. Okay. So confidential information, who can tell us? We are on intellectual properties, okay? So we want to look at confidential information. As information that should remain private to protect the privacy of the what? Individual. Not individual alone have confidential information. Even a company can have its confidential what? Information. That should be protected. So here we see confidential information as is information disclosed by one party to another in a way that is designated as confidential. Okay. So this can be a document, it can be prototypes. We have done ACI, so we know what prototype is. Code samples, algorithm samples, production plant and equipment can be of confidential to the company. So we should treat them as confidential, all those information. Because some of them, when they go into the public, it may go against the company or the individual. For example, when you even take individual information that you are storing in a system, bank information system, for example, we have series of personal information, confidential information, such as the bank name, what do you call it? Your name is tied to a particular ID, and you are given the bank number, account number. Okay. So this can easily relate to you. Healthcare system will have database of confidential information about an individual health. LMS, school management system will also have the same. You have your identifier. For school management system, you have resource, you have other things to do online. So you have confidential information. Okay. So if you ask why confidential information is important, when you're able to keep it, it will build trust between you and your client. It will build trust if it's an healthcare system between the hospital and the client, the patient. Confidential information also, when you protect it, it promotes confidence in the system. People anywhere, they will be able and eager to use your system. But if your system is porous, people will not like to use your healthcare system or any other system that you put out there. Confidential information, like a policy on it, will prevent misuse of confidential information. It will prevent misuse. So people will not make illegal or copy illegal use of the product or people information. People will not even think of attacking a system, if they think that people information should remain private to them. Organization will not sell people's information, okay? Because when the person gets to know, you cannot be trusted. Note that if you are a company who has people's data or information confidential, keeping people information confidential will protect your reputation. All right. So 3.6, we trying to look at peer-to-peer network and cyber lockers. Okay. The role of network in intellectual property. Okay. When we talk about peer-to-peer network, we mean the connection of computers on the same network or program to access files, okay, that are stored in different computers on that network. So peer-to-peer is P2P network. The purpose is to facilitate data exchange within members of that network. The bigger part of this network, we can refer to it as the internet. The company can have their own LAN, they can have their own PAN, different network, which they use to exchange and store data over the net. So data on transit should be well protected, and data at rest should also be well protected. Okay. Cyber lockers, also called file hosting services or cloud storage services. Okay. They have role to play when we talk about intellectual property infringement. They have role to play when we talk about confidential information. Cyber lockers or file hosting services will allow individuals to upload or download password protected files. They will support group collaboration and make sharing of copyrighted material easy. But if these people want to win the trust of their clients, they will have security measures as we discussed earlier, password protected, and then we have encryption and a lot more to protect data as they share over the internet. Let's just pineapple. Open it. Let's see. Okay. So, hello.
Hi.
Is somebody talking?
Peter, mute your mic.
Hey, thank you. All right. So, in regard to cyber lockers and then peer-to-peer network, we have a case study of Napster. We have this case study of Napster. Who is that? Okay, case study. So all these are case study that you have to do. Peer-to-peer music exchange network. I don't know who is this person. And it's the Department of Computer Science. That is what. Okay. The noise is coming. Okay. That is me. All right. So we have a case study here of Napster. Napster implement peer-to-peer music exchange network in 1999. But we realized that they were sued by RIA for copyright violation. So you read the case study, this is just a summary, where court rules in favor of RIA. Okay, so we realized that Napster went offline in 2001 and they re-emerged again stronger in 2003. Okay, so you can read the case study about Napster. This is another case study. You can go to Fast Track, RIA case study again. Okay, case study. All right. All right. Who can, I hope you've all heard about BitTorrent. BitTorrent. Yeah. Okay, BitTorrent. Who have ever heard or used BitTorrent?
We've heard about it.
You've heard about it. You know that it's mainly used for what?
Downloads of movies.
Yes, download faster. Mhm. And large file, any large file, you can use it to download faster. So with this example, we just demonstrating how network, hey, the internet have paved the way for downloading and uploading of what content. So some of these contents include computer programs, television shows, movies. Okay. So all this can go against copyright infringement. Okay. As people are protecting their stuff, the hackers, whatever, they are also coming out with the new technology. Okay, to bypass. Okay. This is the concept behind BitTorrent, where there are several servers. Okay, several servers. So servers are here for, and this is making downloading and uploading what faster over the network. Case study. I think all the case study I can remove them later. Okay. So lastly, we'll look at the protection for software. We have mentioned some already. Protection for software. Software can be protected through copyright. Okay? Through copyright. And some company will also treat the source code as trade secret. So meaning you can protect software through trade secret. Okay. And we can also, the copyright can be applied on software. Since we are IT people or computer science. So how do you protect your intellectual property? So one way is through the copyright protection, through trade secret, okay? Copying a program to give or sell to someone else is a violation. It's a violation of software copyrights. So this is a demonstration of the space shift that I talked about earlier. Okay. You are copying to give or sell to someone. So it's against the software copyright. Preloading a program onto the hard disk of a computer being sold is a violation of software copyright. So you are selling computers and you go ahead to install Windows, those operating system, and you install, what do you have there? The office suite. You install many things on those systems. That is the preloading. Preloading a program, that person should mute himself again. So when you do this, you are violating software copyright. If you disable program over the internet, okay, somebody else's program over the internet and taking it like your own, is a violation of software copyright, where you can be sued and then sent to court. Okay. So we're on protection for software, and I said we can copyright our software or apply trade secrets in whatever software we are doing. And we talk about violation of software copyright through these three options. Okay. So to support our violation of software cases, we have case studies. Okay. Case study between Apple Computer and Franklin Computer. It was established that object programs are copyrightable. So this case, when finally it is judged, is saying that computer programs are copyrightable. Okay. And between Sega versus Accolade, it was also established that disassembling object code to determine technical specification is fair use. Okay. So if somebody get the code, study it, okay, and you are able to come out with a document about how this is how you are going to go about things to develop similar product, is considered what? Fair use. Remember earlier we talked about fair use, and we made mention that you can use reverse engineering, okay, to come out with a product. Okay. Another way we can come out with safe software development is through reverse engineering. Reverse engineering. Here we said you go through the system interface by interface and note its functionality. Then go and develop something with those functionality. Reverse engineering. So reverse engineering is okay. Okay, it's okay. Software patents. Let's see what software patent has for us. Okay, it said until 1981, patent office refused to grant software patents. You know, patent, we say it lasts for 20 years. So until that time, they refused to grant patents to software. They saw program as mathematical algorithm, not processes or machines. Okay. Okay. Led to patent being granted for wider range of software. So, but later during 1981, initially it was like that. No patent will be granted for software. So we say until 1981, until court saw the need and the importance to give patent to what? Software. So we can have thousands of software patents now exist. Okay, patent. So it's a way of protecting software. We are under software now. How, as intellectual property, how do you protect it? Okay. Right. Critics say too many patents have been issued. Okay, so the court case starts from here as a case study. So where critics are saying that there are so many patents being given out. Company with new products fear getting sued for patent infringement. So that is the consequences of too many patents that have been given out there. So with this diagram, we look at differences between copyright and software patent. Software copyright and software patents. Okay. When we look at software copyright in terms of what is protected, it can protect object program, screen displays. Hey, that's serious. It can protect screen displays. You copy your development is similar to some people. Okay,